Pope Luis Antonio Tagle has been crowned, and with his coronation, the Catholic Church enters a powerful and emotional new chapter in history. The Vatican, full of centuries-old traditions, became the center of a global moment that touched the hearts of millions. As the world watched and prayed, a gentle, humble voice from Asia rose to take on the heaviest spiritual responsibility on earth. This was not just a papal transition, it was a revolution of faith, unity, and transformation. For the first time ever, a Filipino, Cardinal Tagle, stood on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, not as a bishop or cardinal, but as the Pope, the successor to St. Peter. The air was still for a second, and then it erupted. Cheers, tears, and praises echoed from every continent. The Church had chosen a new shepherd, and he came not from Europe or the Americas, but from the heart of Southeast Asia. This election was more than a ritual. It was a statement, a sign that the Church was moving forward, embracing change, diversity, and inclusivity. The conclave's decision was not rushed. It was made through deep prayer, reflection, and discernment, behind closed doors, surrounded by the whispers of the saints and the weight of history. The cardinals took their sacred duty seriously. As smoke rose from the chimney, signaling white, a wave of emotion swept through the crowd gathered in St. Peter's Square. When Cardinal Jorge Bergoglio, Pope Francis, announced his successor, the world paused. Then came the name Luis Antonio Tagle, and from that moment, the world would never be the same again. Born in the Philippines, Pope Tagle has long been known as a man of deep humility, love, and faith. His journey from a child growing up in a simple home in Cavite to the Archbishop of Manila and now to the Pope is one of true dedication and service. He was never distant or unreachable. Instead, he was always close to the people, speaking with kindness, serving the poor, embracing the forgotten. His eyes always carried compassion, and his voice always offered peace. People around the world had already felt his presence long before his election. Through his leadership roles in the Church, especially as prefect of the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples, he touched hearts across continents. He wasn't a leader who demanded attention. Instead, he earned it with quiet strength and sincere love. As news spread of his election, celebrations erupted not just in the Philippines, but around the globe. In Manila, church bells rang through the streets. People cried, prayed, danced, and hugged each other with overwhelming joy. Across Asia, in churches from India to Japan, candles were lit in thanksgiving. In Africa, Latin America, and Europe, the Catholic faithful shared in the joy, understanding that Pope Tagle represented not just one country, but a universal church. His face on the Vatican balcony gave comfort, hope, and a promise that the Church would walk a new path filled with compassion and listening. Pope Tagle's vision is both bold and gentle. He believes deeply in the gospel message of love and service. He dreams of a church that opens its doors to everyone, regardless of background, race, or past. He sees the church not as a place of judgment, but as a home, a family where every person is valued and welcomed. His leadership calls for healing, especially in a world filled with conflict, inequality, and division. He wants the church to be present in people's lives, to speak to their wounds, to walk with them in their struggles. Modernization is also part of Pope Tagle's mission. He understands that the world is changing, and the Church must respond with wisdom and openness. He supports using digital media, social platforms, and technology to connect with people, especially the youth. He knows that faith doesn't belong only in buildings. It belongs in hearts, in communities, and even online. But even as he embraces progress, he never forgets the roots of faith. He believes in the power of tradition, prayer, and the presence of the Holy Spirit guiding the Church forward. One of his strongest commitments is to social justice. Pope Tagle speaks firmly against poverty, inequality, and exclusion. He reminds the world that every human life matters. He defends the rights of migrants, speaks out against human trafficking, and supports care for the earth. He challenges Catholics to live their faith not just through words, but through action, feeding the hungry, visiting the sick, welcoming the stranger, and caring for creation. For him, faith means responsibility. Pope Tagle is also a voice for interfaith dialogue. In today's divided world, he sees the importance of building bridges instead of walls. He believes that people from different religions can and must work together, for peace, for justice, and for shared humanity. He listens, learns, and respects others without losing his deep Catholic faith. He encourages friendship among faiths, knowing that unity is built through respect and shared love for human dignity. This new papacy, led by a pope who truly walks with the people, offers a bright light for the future of the Catholic Church. Pope Tagle is not trying to be a hero, he is simply trying to be a servant of God and of the people. And in doing so, he inspires millions to follow Christ more closely, to live with greater love and to hope more boldly. The world is watching, the Church is listening, and a new chapter is beginning, one where faith, love, and unity are not just preached, but lived. The coronation of Pope Tagle is not just a personal victory, nor just a moment of Filipino pride. It is a moment for all Catholics, for all people of faith, and even for those who are searching. It is a reminder that in the heart of a church over 2,000 years old, new life still blossoms. And through the voice of a humble man from Asia, God's message of love continues to echo across the world.